What if I told you the key to unlocking thousands of dollars in savings each year isn't about chasing a bigger paycheck? It's about consciously sidestepping the common pitfalls that drain our wallets. Avoiding those 13 purchases that most people mindlessly throw their money at. I'm about to pull back the curtain on the biggest money traps. The insidious habits that keep so many people stuck in a cycle of financial struggle. And trust me, some of these might come as a real shock. We're not just talking about the small, everyday expenses here. These are the big-ticket items, the recurring costs that can quietly bleed you dry, costing you thousands of dollars and trapping you in a cycle of always being broke. But here's the good news. Once you become aware of these traps, you can actively avoid them, making smarter choices that pave the way for building real wealth. So, let's dive in. Over the next little while, I'm going to break down the 13 things you should absolutely never buy if you're serious about saving money and embracing a truly minimalist lifestyle. Let's get started. The very first thing I want to address is a habit that, if broken, can set you on the fast track to minimalist success, avoiding those constant phone upgrades. Man, our society is so deeply entrenched in this idea that we need the shiniest new phones, packed with the latest features, in order to feel complete or validated. It's like we've been programmed to believe that our worth is somehow tied to the device in our pocket. But let me be clear, and I'll say it simply, that's just not true. True satisfaction in life doesn't come from a phone upgrade. The fleeting dopamine rush of unboxing a new gadget is a poor substitute for genuine contentment. To be honest, the year-over-year advancements in phone features are often marginal at best. The companies that create these devices are masters of incremental upgrades. They make just enough tweaks and improvements to entice us to keep buying the latest model, perpetuating a cycle of consumerism. And they're incredibly successful at it, raking in massive profits from our perceived need for the newest and best. But a true minimalist approaches this differently. They pause and ask themselves, do I really need this new phone? My current phone works perfectly well. It meets all my needs. Why replace something that isn't broken? They stick with what they have, recognizing the value in functionality over fleeting trends. If you can adopt this mindset, you'll be well on your way to saving a significant amount of money and cultivating a more minimalist approach to life. But remember, phone upgrades are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the money traps we fall into. Now, let's talk about warranties. This isn't rocket science, but it's a topic that deserves attention. We often get swept up in a wave of fear, worrying that something might break down and leave us with a hefty repair bill. But the truth is, most warranties go unused. They represent more money that could be saved and invested in our futures, allowing us to build a more prosperous life and buy things we genuinely value and need. Sure, there might be rare instances where a warranty proves beneficial, but in the vast majority of cases, I'd say 99% of the time, they're simply not a good deal. That's why true minimalists rarely, if ever, buy them. Think about it, if warranties were actually beneficial for consumers, companies wouldn't push them so aggressively. They generate enormous profits from warranties precisely because people rarely use them. It's a calculated gamble on our fear of the unknown. Next up, we have bottled drinks and alcoholic beverages. A crucial point to consider here is that most liquid drinks, excluding water, offer little to no nutritional value and can actually be detrimental to our health. Now, I'm not saying these things are inherently evil. I'm not suggesting you can never enjoy a soda or a glass of bourbon. Go ahead and indulge occasionally. I think that's perfectly fine, as long as you do so responsibly, safely, and without compromising your overall health. However, when we're talking about unnecessary expenses, like shelling out a small fortune for bottled water at the airport, that's where we need to draw the line. Bring your own reusable bottle and fill it up once you're through security. It's a simple way to save money and reduce plastic waste. Amusement parks are another prime example. Pack your own bottled water. The markups inside those parks are outrageous. And when you're dining out, those bottomless sodas can quickly add up. You might end up paying $4 or $5 for something you could buy at a grocery store for $1. Alcohol while dining out is another expense that can easily spiral out of control. Again, I'm not advocating for a life of deprivation. Enjoy a drink from time to time, savor the experience. But if it becomes a constant habit, it's going to wreak havoc on your finances. Again, sticking with the theme of this video, these are the kinds of things a minimalist would consciously avoid buying when they're out and about. Enjoy life. But if you aspire to be a true minimalist, be mindful of these purchases. But we're just scratching the surface when it comes to the money traps that keep you broke. The next few items on the list are the big-ticket expenses that can potentially derail your financial future for years to come. So, let's move on to new cars. It's really as simple as this. If you want to be a financially savvy, minimalist individual who spends wisely, then buying new cars is simply not the way to go. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it experiences a massive depreciation hit. That money is simply gone, vanished into thin air. It's an instant loss of value that you can never recover. If you're looking for something high quality that will last, you can still find a fantastic used car. You don't need the label of brand new to get a reliable vehicle. I think we are tempted by that, "Oh yeah, I bought this brand new car," right? We desire the status symbol. And when it comes to being a minimalist, you shouldn't be concerned about what other people think. You should only care about getting a good deal and excellent value for your money. A well-maintained used car is a fantastic option. It will serve you well for years. And it's significantly cheaper than buying new. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let other people absorb that massive depreciation hit while you enjoy a reliable car for half the price. But remember, cars aren't the only area where we waste money on status symbols. We'll delve into that a little later. Next, let's talk about in-app purchases. This is a relatively straightforward concept. In-app purchases, whether we're talking about games or subscription-based cookbooks, are often overpriced compared to alternatives you can find elsewhere. Consider mobile app games, for instance. People are willing to spend $15 to $20 on these games when they could be playing a far more engaging and high-quality game for around $60 on a console. That's just one example. You can also buy an entire cookbook for $20. As opposed to paying for premium service subscriptions on apps that provide monthly access to recipes. You can often find similar recipes for free online. Again, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't spend money on your hobbies. It's perfectly fine to indulge occasionally. But a true minimalist actively seeks out free, fun alternatives. Or invests in higher quality items that offer greater long-term value. And speaking of bad spending habits, let's address the elephant in the room, retail therapy. There's nothing inherently wrong with treating yourself to something nice, especially if it's a high-quality item. But retail therapy, as the name suggests, is often used as a substitute for actual therapy. We go out, buy things, and seek a fleeting sense of comfort or happiness. I want you to understand that true fulfillment will not come from the things you buy. A true minimalist recognizes this. They understand that accumulating more possessions won't make them happier. In fact, the opposite is often true. Having less stuff, but possessing higher quality items that they truly value, will lead to greater long-term satisfaction. If you're struggling with retail therapy, I recommend finding a hobby that you genuinely enjoy and that aligns with a minimalist lifestyle, something that is both fulfilling and inexpensive. This will help you avoid seeking validation or happiness through mindless shopping. The final items on this list are the sneaky expenses that drain your money without you even realizing it. First up, late fees. This is simply a matter of staying on top of your finances and avoiding unnecessary charges. The more money you keep in your pocket, the more you have to spend on things you actually want and value. Late fees are entirely avoidable. If you maintain a clear overview of your expenses, you'll be less likely to incur them. Minimalists prioritize financial organization and rarely pay late fees. The same principle applies to credit card interest. This is a simple concept. Some minimalists still use credit cards, and that's perfectly acceptable. You can earn valuable points and rewards, provided you pay off your balance in full each month. But true minimalists never pay credit card interest. They prioritize paying off their balance every month, avoiding unnecessary charges on past purchases. This not only saves you money but also improves your credit score, which can help you secure better interest rates on loans, mortgages, and other financial products. There are countless benefits to avoiding credit card debt. If you want to embrace a minimalist lifestyle, make it a priority to never incur interest charges. But it's not just about fees. It's also about the things we think we need but actually don't. Let's talk about extra shoes. Now, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't have versatile shoes. Having a pair of running shoes and a pair of snow boots is perfectly reasonable, especially if you live in a climate where they're necessary. These are essential items. However, you absolutely don't need 10 pairs of white shoes that coordinate with different outfits. We don't need multiple pairs of the same type of shoe simply to add variety to our wardrobe. Shoes were originally intended for practical purposes, while they have become a fashion statement in our current culture. True minimalists recognize their primary function. They typically own only 1 or 2 pairs of shoes within each category. It's fine to have hiking boots and sneakers, but owning 5 pairs of sneakers is simply excessive. Let's keep going and discuss meal delivery services. True minimalists rarely, if ever, use meal delivery services because there's rarely a genuine need for them. It's often a matter of convenience and comfort, the desire to stay home and have food brought to us. If you indulge in this once or twice a year, that's perfectly fine. But relying on meal delivery services is incredibly expensive. Finding joy in preparing your own meals, going out to grocery stores, or sharing a meal with friends and family at a restaurant is far more fulfilling than ordering food for yourself and sitting on the couch watching television. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but a minimalist would approach it differently. Prioritizing home-cooked meals and dining out with loved ones for special occasions aligns with a minimalist lifestyle. Finally, the last items on this list might surprise you. Let's talk about lottery tickets and gambling in general. Minimalists understand that accumulating more money won't necessarily bring them happiness. They recognize that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external sources. I'm not saying you can never buy a lottery ticket or visit a casino. There's nothing inherently evil about those activities. However, if you're engaging in these activities with the sole hope of becoming rich, clinging to the belief that one day you'll strike it big, that's not a healthy way to approach money or life. Chasing these arbitrary goals in search of fulfillment is not conducive to a minimalist lifestyle. True minimalists avoid buying lottery tickets because they understand where true happiness comes from: experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Let's discuss big houses. Buying a large house is acceptable, but a true minimalist understands that they only need enough space for themselves and their family. Sometimes, a large house can feel empty, and that diminishes its sense of fulfillment. If you're considering buying a large house, make sure you have a large family to fill it. Otherwise, you're simply paying for unused space. That's not a wise investment. To put it simply, buy a house that you like, in a location you love. But don't buy a house that's enormous simply to impress others. There's no point in that. It's futile to try to impress people. If you're trying to impress people, you're not living a minimalist lifestyle. And you're not saving money effectively. Get a house that is affordable and enjoyable. That is a good investment in your future, but don't buy a house to show off. That's just silly. Finally, we have subscriptions. If you enjoy watching movies, I'm not going to tell you to cancel your Netflix subscription. If you value a specific cooking channel that requires an extra monthly payment, then by all means, subscribe to it. However, I'm referring to the numerous subscriptions we accumulate for things we don't actually need. Movies are fine, but don't subscribe to a multitude of unrelated services. People often have a wide array of subscriptions, and they don't utilize half of them. Canceling these unnecessary expenses allows us to invest more in our future. Whether it's saving or investing, it also creates more space to live a more peaceful life. Now that you know the 13 biggest money traps that keep people broke, let's explore the flip side. While most people waste money on these items, wealthy individuals have cultivated entirely different habits that actually build wealth instead of diminishing it.